The grand auditorium of the Tencent Video All-Star Night 2025 buzzed with an electric, almost palpable energy as the industry's biggest stars gathered under a constellation of dazzling lights. Cameras flashed continuously across the crimson carpet, capturing the breathtaking elegance of actors and musicians who had defined the cultural landscape of the year. Among the crowd, Lu Yuning sat with an air of quiet anticipation, his posture composed yet reflective. His journey to this moment had been paved with relentless dedication, balancing grueling drama schedules with massive musical commitments that tested his physical and emotional limits. Nearby, Zhao Lusi radiated a soft, ethereal glow, her presence commanding the attention of both the roaring audience and the countless media outlets broadcasting the event worldwide. Her standout performances over the past year had captured the hearts of millions, turning her into a true powerhouse of modern television. The atmosphere shifted gears as the evening progressed toward the highly anticipated major category awards. Presenters stepped onto the stage with golden envelopes, their voices echoing through the grand hall as they detailed the monumental achievements of the nominees. When the nominees for the top acting accolades flashed across the massive LED screens, a collective gasp swept through the arena. The category was fiercely competitive, featuring veterans and rising sensations alike, each having delivered unforgettable television moments. As the presenter finally uttered Zhao Lusi's name as the winner, the entire venue erupted into a thunderous wave of applause. The roar of the crowd was deafening, a testament to the immense wave of popularity and critical acclaim she had earned throughout the past 12 months. Instantly, the spotlight pivoted sharply toward Zhao Lusi, illuminating her look of genuine surprise and overwhelming gratitude. She gracefully rose from her seat, sharing warm, celebratory embraces with her peers who rushed to congratulate her on the monumental milestone. Cameras frantically zoomed in to capture every second of her triumphant walk toward the stage. The energy in the room was electric, fueled by the collective joy of fans and industry insiders who had witnessed her artistic evolution firsthand. Amidst the roaring crowd and the blinding flashes of the media corps, Lu Yuning watched the unfolding scene with an expression that shifted from eager anticipation to profound emotion. He began to applaud enthusiastically, his hands clapping steadily as a wide, proud smile touched his lips. However, the weight of the moment began to press heavily against his composure. Having worked closely alongside Zhao Lusi and witnessed the grueling, sleepless nights behind her on-screen magic, the depth of her struggle and ultimate victory resonated deeply within his soul. A sudden swell of raw vulnerability overtook him, causing his breath to hitch slightly. The immense pride he felt for his colleague and friend transcended simple professional admiration, touching a deeply personal chord of shared hardship and mutual respect in the unforgiving entertainment industry. Trying to maintain his composure, Lu Yuning lowered his gaze for a brief second, swallowing hard as a heavy knot formed in his throat. The cameras, ever vigilant, caught the subtle tremble in his shoulders and the sudden glistening of moisture welling up in his eyes. The glittering lights of the arena seemed to blur as tears finally broke free, tracing a quiet, glistening path down his cheek. He made no immediate attempt to wipe them away, entirely consumed by the overwhelming authenticity of the moment. It was a rare, deeply human display from an artist usually known for his stoic charm and towering stage presence. In a world often dominated by polished perfection and carefully curated personas, his unfiltered emotional release offered a startling glimpse into his genuine heart. On the stage, Zhao Lusi delivered a touching acceptance speech, expressing her heartfelt gratitude to her devoted fans, the production crews, and everyone who believed in her vision. Her voice wavered with emotion, carrying the weight of a journey built on perseverance and tireless hard work. Down in the audience, Lu Yuning listened intently to every single word she spoke. Each phrase seemed to echo the unspoken trials they both understood so well, deepening the emotional resonance that was rapidly overwhelming him. Unable to hold back the tide of tears any longer, he discreetly lifted a hand to brush away the moisture, his breath catching in a quiet sob. The armor of stardom completely melted away, leaving behind a man deeply moved by the triumph of someone he deeply cherished. Those sitting near him noticed the profound emotional shift, casting gentle, understanding glances his way. There was no awkwardness in the air, only a profound mutual acknowledgement of the deep empathy and camaraderie that bound these artists together. The emotional display was not one of sadness, but rather an overwhelming expression of catharsis, joy, and profound relief. It represented the invisible blood, sweat, and tears that fuel the glittering illusion of celebrity, recognized and honored in real time. As Zhao Lusi continued her speech, she inadvertently glanced toward the section of the audience where Lu Yuning sat. Though the lighting made it difficult to see individual faces clearly, the unspoken connection between them remained unbreakable across the crowded hall. The applause swelled once more as Zhao Lusi reached the emotional climax of her address, holding her prestigious trophy high toward the heavens. The golden statuette gleamed brightly under the spotlights, symbolizing the absolute pinnacle of current entertainment success. Lu Yuning joined back into the applause with renewed vigor, his vision slightly blurred by the remaining tears in his eyes. He wiped his face cleanly with a swift motion, letting out a soft, shaky sigh that released the last remnants of his pent-up emotion. The contrast between the dazzling, high-energy spectacle of the gala and this deeply intimate, quiet display of human vulnerability created a hauntingly beautiful cinematic moment. It was a scene that would instantly dominate social media timelines and fan forums across the globe. By this time, online live streams were already flooding with comments from millions of viewers who had spotted the emotional breakdown. Fans flooded digital platforms with messages of profound empathy, praising the genuine bond and mutual support shared between the two stars. The narrative of the night quickly shifted from a standard awards ceremony to an unforgettable celebration of authentic human connection. People marveled at how an industry often criticized for superficiality could foster such deep, unfiltered expressions of genuine camaraderie. As Zhao Lusi finally stepped away from the podium and walked back to her seat, she was met with a fresh wave of warm hugs. The tension of the competition dissolved entirely into an atmosphere of shared triumph and collective artistic validation. Lu Yuning took a deep, steadying breath, collecting his thoughts as the event prepared to move on to its next segment. His heart rate gradually slowed, though the lingering warmth of the moment continued to radiate through his entire being. He offered a reassuring nod to those around him, a gentle smile returning to his face, though his eyes still carried the lingering trace of a profound emotional release. It was a testament to a night where art truly mirrored life in its most unexpected ways. The cameras slowly panned away to capture the wide expanse of the auditorium, but the image of Lu Yuning's tear-stained face remained etched in the collective memory of everyone present. It became the defining visual narrative of the Tencent Video All-Star Night 2025. Long after the final curtain fell and the lights of the arena began to dim, discussions about this poignant moment refused to fade. Critics and analysts wrote glowing retrospectives about the raw honesty displayed by top-tier celebrities on such a massive public stage. For Lu Yuning, the evening served as a profound reminder of why he poured his soul into his craft every single day. It wasn't merely about the accolades or the fame, but about sharing the trenches with extraordinary people who understood the true cost of chasing a dream. For Zhao Lusi, holding the trophy high was the ultimate validation of her relentless work ethic, sweetened immeasurably by the silent, tearful tribute offered by a peer who knew her struggles best. Her victory was elevated from a personal triumph to a shared milestone for their entire circle. The event ultimately concluded with a grand group photo on stage, where all the winners and major stars gathered under a shower of glittering confetti. Laughter and light-hearted banter filled the air, washing away the intense emotional waves of the earlier hours. Yet, as Lu Yuning stood shoulder to shoulder with his fellow artists, a quiet, knowing look passed between him and Zhao Lusi. No words were strictly necessary, a simple nod and a warm smile communicated volumes about what had transpired in the shadows of the spotlight. The journey of both artists would undoubtedly continue with new projects, greater challenges, and even higher mountains to climb in the vast landscape of Chinese entertainment. The road ahead was long, demanding endless hours of rehearsal, filming, and public scrutiny. However, the memory of this specific night would forever serve as a vital anchor for both of them. It reminded them that behind the makeup, the couture gowns, and the roaring crowds, they were human beings deeply affected by each other's triumphs. Fans continued to dissect every micro-expression and camera angle for weeks following the broadcast, turning the touching exchange into internet lore. Dedicated video edits pairing Zhao Lusi's winning moment with Lu Yuning's emotional reaction garnered tens of millions of views overnight. Commentators noted how rare it was to witness such unscripted, pure empathy in the hyper-polished world of modern Asian pop culture. The authenticity of the moment shattered the invisible barrier between idol and audience, drawing fans even closer to their favorite personalities. In the quiet hours following the after-party, as Lu Yuning finally returned to his private residence, the events of the evening replayed vividly in his mind. He sat by the window, looking out over the glittering city skyline, feeling a profound sense of peace and gratitude settle over him. He realized that tears were not a sign of weakness, but rather a reflection of a heart that still cared deeply, remained vulnerable, and knew how to truly celebrate the success of others. It was a humbling realization that reinforced his artistic integrity. Across town, Zhao Lusi placed her newly won trophy on her shelf, its golden surface catching the ambient light of the room. She too reflected on the whirlwind day, recognizing that her success was built not just on her own efforts, but on the supportive ecosystem of peers who stood beside her. The Tencent Video All-Star Night 2025 would go down in history books not merely as a showcase of fashion and popularity, but as a masterclass in emotional resonance. It proved that true stardom is deeply rooted in empathy, mutual respect, and the courage to feel deeply. As the news cycle eventually transitioned to new headlines, the emotional imprint of that evening remained indelible within the hearts of the fandom. It became a timeless benchmark for how artists should support one another in an industry that often demands perfection at the expense of humanity. Lu Yuning's tears and Zhao Lusi's triumph became permanently intertwined in the cultural zeitgeist, creating a legendary chapter in contemporary entertainment history. Whenever fans would look back at the milestones of 2025, this singular, beautiful moment would instantly come to mind. The raw power of shared human emotion had once again proven to be far more captivating than any scripted drama could ever hope to achieve. It was a genuine manifestation of art imitating life, where the lines between professional colleagues and soul-deep friends blurred into something truly unforgettable. Looking toward the future, both stars were poised to conquer even greater heights, carrying the invisible strength of this shared memory with them. Their individual paths would continue to evolve, but their mutual respect was now cemented in stone for the world to see. The auditorium lights were dark, the cameras were packed away, and the red carpet had long been rolled up, but the emotional shockwaves of that night continued to ripple outward. It was a night where a tear spoke louder than 1,000 words, perfectly capturing the bittersweet beauty of chasing greatness. Ultimately, Lu Yuning's breakdown was not just about Zhao Lusi winning an award, but about the profound realization of how far they had both traveled against all odds. It was a sacred, quiet moment of validation in a very loud world, beautifully preserved in time forever.